Some men bring fortune, others bring ruin. But the most dangerous are those who carry misery like a plague and shake your hand with a smile. Emotional states are contagious. Misery spreads like a virus, invisible but fatal. Surround yourself with the unlucky, the complainers, the perpetual victims, and soon your fortune will reflect theirs. Misfortune loves company, but power walks alone. In 14th century Castile, King Pedro of Spain ruled with fire and fury. He was known as Pedro the Cruel. But behind that cruelty was a woman who slowly poisoned his soul. Her name was Maria de Padilla. Beautiful, melancholic, cunning. Pedro was obsessed. Despite being married to another woman for political reasons, he kept Maria as his mistress and surrounded himself with her bitter, brooding relatives. One by one, his loyal advisors were dismissed. Maria whispered tales of betrayal, of plots, of enemies in his midst. Paranoia bloomed, and Pedro, he began to purge his own court. Friends became foes. His reign grew darker, bloodier. Soon the kingdom turned against him. Uprisings flared. His own brother Henry marched against him. Pedro died alone, betrayed, hunted, hated. Maria lived only a few years longer, but the infection she spread lingered. She didn't raise a sword. She didn't command armies. She whispered and watched a king unravel. Her real name was Marie Gilbert. But history remembers her as Lola Montez, the exotic dancer, the scandalous beauty, the courtesan who captivated half of Europe and destroyed a king. Born in Ireland in 1821, Marie reinvented herself over and over. A Spanish noblewoman, a flamenco dancer, a revolutionary. What she lacked in pedigree, she made up for in drama. She weaponized chaos. By the time she reached Bavaria in 1846, Lola had already left behind a trail of broken hearts, ruined reputations, and dual-challenged lovers. But her most infamous conquest was King Ludwig I of Bavaria. He was 60. She was 24. She enthralled him, seduced him, and then began to infect him. She was given a title, Countess of Landsfeld, a salary, a palace, influence. But she didn't want to simply live in luxury. She wanted power, and she used it like poison. She forced the king to fire ministers who crossed her. She meddled in politics. And when the public turned against her, Ludwig doubled down, defending her at all costs. The backlash was instant and violent. Riots broke out in Munich. The university was closed. The kingdom's elite were furious. Eventually, under overwhelming pressure, Ludwig abdicated, giving up his throne for a woman who would vanish from his life soon after. She infected every court she entered. She left behind smoke, scandal, and shattered men. And yet, she was never held accountable. It was always the others who paid the price. Lola Montez didn't carry a weapon. She carried emotional chaos, and anyone who let her in was consumed by it. Power, position, logic, none of it matters if you're standing next to a human storm. Ludwig ruled a kingdom, but she ruled his emotions, and emotions, unchecked, will destroy empires. In the early 2000s, Oprah Winfrey was building a media empire, but not all her personal and professional relationships were healthy. One longtime friend, whose name she never publicly disclosed, had become a constant source of negativity, self-victimization, and emotional drain. Every time we spoke, Oprah later said, I would leave the conversation feeling worse than when I entered it. I was constantly being pulled into her drama, her crises, her sadness. For years, Oprah tried to help. She offered advice, resources, even therapy referrals. But nothing changed. Eventually, Oprah made a ruthless but necessary decision. She cut the friend off completely, not with anger, but with emotional clarity. She understood that this person wasn't just unlucky. She was addicted to misery. Oprah didn't abandon someone in need. She recognized chronic emotional self-destruction. She protected her emotional environment like a CEO guards capital. Once she severed ties, she said her clarity and energy returned almost instantly. Power trap. Compassion is a noble quality. But in the game of power, pity is a weakness. People infected by misfortune often look for rescuers. They'll drown and take you with them. You think you're helping, but you're absorbing their narrative, their energy, their curse. Law 10 teaches, don't try to save the drowning, or you'll forget how to swim. Avoid the unhappy. Avoid the unlucky. It's not cruelty, it's survival. Because your destiny is shaped by the company you keep. And some souls were born to sink ships. If this hit close to home, subscribe to Striver. We're decoding every law from the 48 laws of power with ruthless clarity. Next up, Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Power isn't given. It's engineered. Don't miss it.